You know, I would have given Stephen Garvey a chance, the leader of the National Citizens Alliance of Canada. And, I would have given it a chance because of, it seems to me that he wants small government, understands the liberals and the conservatives are corrupt. But you could tell that the whole PPC thing really enraged the guy. Maybe he thinks that the support that went to the PPC would have went to him instead, but that's not true. Most people, don't know who Stephen Garvey is. First of all, the one interview I've seen of him made him look really, really bad. He was on Derek's channel more than a year ago, and he kept interrupting Derek and be like, Derek, let me speak. Derek, and over time, Derek just had enough of it. He said, okay, man, we got to cut this short. This is just ridiculous, and you need to leave. So already, maybe this guy has some good policies, positions, or whatnot, but himself as a leader is not a good idea. If you like your party or something, then you should resign, and you should get somebody else in there who can speak better, who is actually more charismatic and doesn't come off like a lunatic. Like this would probably help your party, but you being at the helm of it is not going to help it at all. And now what I see him doing on Twitter is he's disparaging a lot of these people who are supporting Wexit and Albertans and using a lot of liberal talking points against Albertans and their need to separate or them wanting to separate, saying that, oh, well, pretty much all these liberal arguments, right? Saying that, oh, well, it's Alberta's fault that they're in the situation they're in because they didn't save money, they didn't invest in different stuff, blah, blah, blah. Instead of mentioning all of the regulations that the Trudeau government instilled, that the NDP came up with, the hundreds of thousands of jobs that are being lost each and every day. And he's saying that Wexit will be horrible for Albertans and it's going to be terrible for them. Lots of job loss, all this crap. So why do you care so much about keeping Canada together if you truly are I guess he is nationalistic because he's a Canadian nationalist, but it appears like they're more of try to be like a libertarian party, right? So if you are a libertarian and you like small government and you like a small state, then you should be all for separation. Like this is what every small government person, if you call yourself that, should be for. I've been for the separation of Canada long before Wexit came about. I don't care if Canada separates. I don't give a shit. It's a fucking name, okay? It's a Canada. Who cares? I would rather have more freedom and more ability to control the outcome of my life and where my money goes than to stick to a country that has the name Canada, right? It's a better deal to leave, to go. But why? Why is there this animosity towards separation? Why does he want Canada to stick together so bad? And why is he disparaging separatists and people like that want to separate? It makes no sense. He, like I said, he was showing all these liberal articles arguing against the separation of Alberta and how, oh, really, they're getting a great deal for being Albertans. They have a really low tax rate compared to the rest of Canada. So why the fuck are they complaining? And I'm like, are you serious? Are you actually promoting this shit? It's the exact same thing of an article I read just today too by CBC, or maybe it was the National Post. And this guy was like, oh, well, it's, what, if Alberta wants to fix their solutions, they need to tax more. They need to tax their people more because they have such a low tax rate, blah, blah, blah. But more than $600 billion have been sent out of Alberta to different provinces within the past, like, I don't know how many years. So since like the creation of Canada, or when they came into Canada, or maybe it was even a shorter amount of time. But they consistently send money out of their province, and they keep losing. They're losing jobs, like constantly. They've lost hundreds of thousands of jobs. Nobody gives a shit. Eastern Canada, a lot of liberals, they don't give a shit, and they will continue not giving a shit in the future. And the only way to get people to listen to you is to make them suffer, is to make them feel pain, because most people are stupid. Most people don't have foresight. They can't look down the road and avoid negative outcomes in the future. So they have to feel the pain. And one way you make them feel the pain is if Alberta were to separate. Now, you're going to see tons of arguments from the media and I guess the Stephen Garvey on how you should stay in Canada. You should stay a part of Canada because you're getting such a great deal. You're going to be landlocked. And that's it. That's just the stupidest argument ever. Okay? You're going to be landlocked. Nobody's going to want to work with you. No, the only reason Quebec doesn't want to work with Alberta, BC, and all these other provinces don't want to work with them is because they don't have to. Because they're getting money from them anyways. It's just like a little kid who's having a tantrum, and you say, hey, stop having a tantrum. Here's a chocolate bar. And then they just go on and they keep having a tantrum like, hey, but I just gave you a chocolate bar. Why are you still screaming? Here's another chocolate bar. Please stop. And then they keep doing it. You keep giving them chocolate bars, and you're wondering, why don't these people listen? Why don't they change? What it's stop giving them shit. Stop rewarding them for treating people badly, and then they will change. And then the province, Alberta, which is already landlocked, being in Canada, who can't get their resources to the coast or to other parts of Canada even, they're already landlocked. And you're telling me that it's going to be more landlocked in the future, when you don't have to when you don't have to take the carbon tax from the federal government or all these other top-down things that the federal government is trying to impose on Alberta, the carbon tax, whatever. You're telling me it's going to be more difficult? No, you're stupid, okay? You're not thinking properly. You're not thinking logically. Leaving Canada would be beneficial to Albertans because they get to keep more of their money. That's it. Is it really so hard to understand? When you get taxed less, you get to keep more of your money. When there's less regulations ruining your businesses will start to come back. This isn't that complicated. But you got Stephen Garvey attacking these people that are, look, this whole wexit thing is really a plan to give more power to the Canadian government. How does this make sense? How does leaving going to give more power to the Canadian government? Is the EU going to get more power when the UK leaves? No, they're going to get less money. Like, please, people, think, use your brains. Like, you have your brains for a reason. Don't just listen to what people say. Actually think about things yourself, and then you can see how a lot of this stuff is complete bullshit. But like I was saying before, he's going on about the separatist thing, and he's really 80% of his tweets are about Max and the cult leader of Max, and how he was a separatist and how you can't trust a separatist. It's like, see, this is the boomer logic. We can't have boomers running shit, making up plans or trying to come up with strategies. These people are fucking retards. Not all boomers. I love you boomers. Okay? I love a lot of you. And just so you know, boomer means what era you were born into, okay? It means you were born between, what, the 1945 and 1965 or something. That's all it means. So don't get so fucking bent out of shape when I refer to a boomer as a boomer, for Christ's sakes. Or leave my fucking channel, you stupid fucking snowflakes, because I'm really fucking sick and tired of these crybaby fucking people who don't like to be referred to as what they are. Like, leave my channel, you snowflake fucking faggots who think you're all right-wing and anti-political correctness, but you can't even handle a fucking term that applies to you. I'm a millennial. Do I get bent out of shape when people refer to me as a millennial? I heard some people saying I was being dismissive by calling someone a boomer. This is what I'm dealing with right now, just the stupidity of people. But you get boomer logic like this saying, oh, well, the separatism is bad. It's bad for Canada. And he was a Quebec separatist. Good. That's great. I want more separatists. I want more people who want to separate from Canada so then they can keep their culture, retain their culture, decide how their country should be run, or at least their province, without the state coming and imposing their will upon you. You know, the provinces should have more autonomy. If you really want to prevent the separation of Canada, then that's what you got to do. You got to give the provinces more autonomy. You can't allow the federal government to impose things on us, and that would solve a lot of the problems. You know, I see right now Albertans and the East Coast, like Newfoundland, like attacking each other. They hate each other right now. And, you know, Canadians should be unified. You know, we should understand that we're all in the same boat together at the very least, and we shouldn't be at each other's throats. But this is what equalization payments does. This is what socialism does. It takes money from people who earn money, who produce the money, and then give it to people who don't. And this will cause strife. This will cause problems between these two groups of people. The people from Alberta who are being taken advantage of, and the people in the eastern provinces and stuff that will lose that money, and now they're no longer getting it, so now they're going to be really pissed. You know, you can't just give something to people and then take it away and expect them not to be mad. This is why people need to survive on their own, and provinces need to survive on their own. That doesn't mean we can't help each other. We can't donate to people in need when they need assistance and stuff. But this forced redistribution of wealth that is going on is destroying the unity of Canadians. We don't see each other as Canadians or fellow Canadians. It's like, fuck those Albertan fuckers who were able to go and work and work in the oil field and make a lot of money. Now you're going to be like us because now you're going to have to go work a minimum wage job and blah, blah. You know, a lot of it has to do with jealousy too. A lot of people were just jealous about Alberta and the circumstances they were in. But, you know, you could always move there if you wanted to. But you know, this is just society. This is democracy, late stage democracy. And it's only going to get worse from here, you know, unless something happens like this. Because everything is based on incentives in society. Humans are based off of incentives. Like, this is how we function. So if there's no incentive for things to change, other than Alberta leaving and enforcing an incentive on people to change, then nothing will change. You know, I'm not that old, but I've lived long enough to know that people don't just change for no reason. They have to be forced to change. I know I've known plenty of people who just live off of their parents and will continue living off of their parents because they don't let them stand on their own 2 feet. And when those parents die and they're no longer around, that kid is going to be in a really, really tough situation. And it was the parents' fault that did this to them. And this is what's going to happen to Canada as a whole. We're running massive debts, deficits, things we cannot pay for. And one day the bill is going to come due. And we're all going to feel the fucking pain of that when it comes. But, you know, really this video was mainly about, you know, I guess Stephan Garvey. And, you know, that guy is a joke, like I said. I would have supported him if his policies are fine, but him as a leader himself, not very charismatic. Now he's, like I said, he's promoting like leftist arguments, essentially blaming the Albertans for the problems that they have right now in their provinces. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like, yes, okay, people should have saved more, and yes, the conservative government in Alberta made a lot of mistakes and fucked things up too. But the people of Alberta have a lot of things that they can rightfully be mad about, but everybody's just dismissing it like they're dumb, like they're this, and this is only going to create more hatred and more division between Canadians. Instead of just saying to Albertans, oh, you've been privileged all these years, now you gotta stop spending so much because you guys are idiots or whatever. It's like, have a little bit of empathy, for fuck's sakes. Have a little empathy for people who live in that fucking province, who have lost their jobs, who used to make good money and now are making a fraction of what they're making before. And just because you're poor and you made a lot of bad decisions and you didn't decide to go to move Alberta when they were doing well economically, that's on you, okay? You don't need to be mad at other people who are doing better than you, okay? Like, Manitoba receives equalization payments too. I don't want any of that money. I don't want to steal from other people to give my province fucking money. No, take that money away from us. We don't need it, and we will be better without it. Okay? We don't need this support. We are stronger. You are more capable than you believe. And don't let anybody convince you otherwise. But that's all I pretty much had to say about this. If you like my content, subscribe and have a good day. See ya.